This program is proudly brought to you by the Peel Dance Bar, corner of Peel and Wellington Streets, Collingwood.
Well, we're back, yes, rambling on. We will be rambling on. And tonight's fabulous topic is that queer life is too straight. Now, this is a national show, and we've flown in a couple of bimbos from Sydney, one in either team, just to prove that we are national. So we look forward to seeing how unintelligent they are. But that's okay. Before we get into this, I want to give an example of what we're on about. And before I introduce everybody, I just want to once again find out, what side are you lot?
Four.
And what does that mean?
Means yes.
Means yes, that
yes.
Meaning?
Affirmation.
That?
Affirmative. Yes, that queer life is far too straight.
Far too straight.
Absolutely.
So it's far too straight. So there's a badge here that you may get at the end. It says, we're not all straight in the Garden State. One from your early activist days. Put that on. Now the other side over here would be arguing... Against. And what does that represent?
Queer life is not too straight at all.
Well, I found this tie from Fruits in Suits, because I actually think they're very nice members of our community. So you could go home with that tie, all of you. Now, before we get bang into it, before we start with what I call the half-castes, just look at them, and what I call this lot, the blonde bimbos, but that's all right. We're dumb blondes. I mean, for God's sake, do you reckon the same bottle happened here? I reckon it did.
I reckon we just got hair.
Oh, for God's sake. So it's quite obvious that you won't be working in the arts again, Caroline, for a long time, isn't it? But before we introduce ourselves and find out who we are, we don't normally allow people to wear dresses, but apparently you're not a drag queen, you're a performance artist. So, Miss Shitty, very briefly, tell us who you are and what you're going to talk about. You've got 3 seconds, go.
Miss Shitty, filthy freak, performance artist. And basically, I think that the gay community is far too conservative and straight for my own liking.
Good, that was interesting. Caroline
Hamilton, yes, I'm a lesbian, and I think Miss Shitty is, if that's a representative then of what queer is, then that's just, have a shower.
That is such a heterosexual statement.
Oh, God, it's going to be another brawl. I can see another brawl.
My mother in 72.
Wait till we get into the brawl. Now, we're going to move on to one of our Sydney guests. Welcome to Melbourne. Anna, tell us who you are and what you're going to argue about. If you can argue, you've been in Sydney for too long, you take too many drugs, we know that. Go for it.
I'm Anna, I'm a dark, obviously.
Are you?
Obviously, yeah. Oh, there you go. And yeah, I'm just fighting, well, not fighting, but queer life is just...
Fighting.
Yeah.
We are fighting.
Well, should I? Look at them. They're all got the same haircut. I mean, they're like how just one frame of mind, you can see it just going one way. It's just the blonde hair.
Well, that's great. I'm glad your English skills have improved. Yeah. We're going to move on over here to another little bimbo from Sydney. Robert, thank you for coming down to Melbourne for this, because we want to show that the midnight shift has no deep cultural essence in it, or no brains.
It doesn't really, but
Robert, what are you arguing?
What am I arguing?
Hello, Sydney.
What are we? Yeah, we're saying that it's not too straight.
Good, that's good, Robert.
Stink.
Yeah. It doesn't smell that much.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to... No, don't do that. We're going to move straight across. Monique, what are you talking about and who are you?
Graham, Monique. That's who I am.
Good.
You just told me who I am, which is good.
You picked up on that one.
And well, that gay life is straight. Very straight.
Yeah, straight to bed.
Straight to bed? Well, straight. It's very straight, and that's what we'll be discussing, and that's what
Good.
I'll say
We'll
for
come
now.
back to that issue. And the last one, we picked up someone who's been researching all weekend like we have been. We cross both sides of the river, but of course we do drink at the Peel, our major sponsor. Now, last night when I saw you at the other place, which was in the Peel, on the Paran side of town.
That'd be the one.
Yes. Now, what are you talking about and who are you?
Okay, I'm Hanna, and I'm just going to say that queer is not too straight, basically because it's bloody gay. In effect, in essence, straight down the line, it is gay, it's queer, and it's not all that straight.
Good. We'll come back here. Now, start the brawl, Miss Shitty. Go for it.
Well, look, I'm going to take this from a psychological point of view.
Ooh.
For years and years and years, society has told us that we are deviants. And I think from a subconscious point of view, we've reacted to that and did exactly that. We acted like deviants, right? You got that? Now, during the 70s underground subculture, right, basically the gay scene was renowned for its flamboyant, outrageous behaviour.
In the 70s?
Yeah, in the 60s. You know? You know, like the...
Just the gay community,
Yeah, but it's the
sweetheart.
disco era, you know, and like, you know, like you go to the Horden Pavilion in 1982 at a warehouse party, and you're going to find men fucking in the urinal.
Oh, please.
Now, you
Please.
don't see that anymore, and my point is because HIV/AIDS has come along as well. You see, now we've toned down our sexual practices, right? We're trying to be accepted by the mainstream community. You got that, right? Blah, 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 blah. Now, with rights comes responsibilities. If we're going to be accepted by middle class society, we're going to have to start acting like middle class society, and that's exactly what's happened. You see, that's exactly what happened. Deep down, we desperately wanted to be accepted, hence the gay rights movement, right? Right. Blah, 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 blah,
I
blah.
think you're just talking about your own psychological history here. Like
No,
you desperately want...
it's all about the functioning dysfunction. It's all about the functioning dysfunction. If you are told that you are a freak, you're going to act like a freak.
Well, I'm sure you're being
Look at
told.
And that's
yourself in
why
the mirror.
for years and years and years and years and years and years, we acted like freaks because we were told we were freaks. But now we're fighting that. We want to be, you know, responsible members of the community. And now, you know, it's like, look at you people. You people are so straight, you make me sick.
Okay, that's enough, I think. Thank you, functioning dysfunction, Miss Shitty. We're going to move on to the dumb blonde side right now, sorry. And I think we're going to get into, what are we going to get into? Definitions.
Okay.
Please, Caroline.
I just want to talk about diversity, and I want to say that queer life is not too straight because, I mean, look at the diversity in our community.
What diversity?
That-
What's the diversity?
Let her
What's the diversity?
shut up, let her have a
You all
go.
look the same to me.
Shut up, just because you've got a dress on, you're not equal, you're being a misogynist. Go.
Okay, Medusa. Now, look, the diversity in our community is that we have many names for queer people. We've got fag, dyke, poof, poof to Sheila, queer, homo, leso, lesbian, homosexual, mattress muckster, and carpet licker. Now, the thing is...
Shirt lifter, donut cruncher,
Thank you.
a few others.
Donut poker. There are just so many.
Let it go.
I've never met a real carpet licker. It's bullshit. Those titles are bullshit. There's no such thing as a real carpet licker. We've got to talk about reality here. You see, that's what it is. That's what it is. It's all just a wank, you see. It's all so cool to be banned.
It's a
But the
gay
reality
boys'
is we're
term.
not. You're not at all. It's all just, you're just a pack of wankers. All
So
of it.
you're going to believe Bozo the Clown over here? I don't think so. And for straight people, we have the term straight people.
Interesting.
There's no diversity in there. I don't think that we're too straight at all because we're fags, dykes, poofs, poof to Sheilas, and Bozo over here.
My stoner mother, right, thinks and says
It's a Freud thing, isn't it? It's
she
like-
has so many sexually straight friends that she would not consider straight.
Why?
Because they're stoners. You see?
You're just going off on this weird tangent that no one here is
I think
understanding.
you've got too much makeup on and it's...
You don't get it, do
mentally.
you? You just don't get it, do you? You're just not getting it. There's nothing I can do about that.
Get a haircut?
Yeah.
Oh, don't. What is this?
Yeah, I think we should move it on. I think we should move it on to something a little more intellectual. Now, going back to your final point was, I actually liked you without a dress on, more like Drew, but that's okay, Miss Shitty.
That's right.
Go back, what is your final point?
Basically, right, my point is, this is my final point, blah, blah, blah. The reality is the queer community is extremely conservative and practices a functioning dysfunction. The misunderstood begin to misunderstand, and we have lost our unique original identity.
Did you get that from the internet?
No, he's going for another grant. I can see that. It's in an application. So, Caroline?
I disagree with that because I think the straight community has tried to be queer, and I think, and that's where the boundaries have blended in together, and I think that straights want to be queer, and that straight life is not queer enough.
Well done.
Not queer enough.
And I think you should use lip liner.
I agree. I agree. No, straight society is totally queer. I don't think queer society is straight.
So you're agreeing with me?
No.
So whose side are you on?
My side.
Can I, before we go to a break, can I just talk about the river? There's this river in the middle of Melbourne, if you Sydney people don't know about it, and it's called the Yarra. And do you think there's a difference between both sides of the river before we go?
Absolutely.
Which is the straightest side of the river?
Depends in what context you're talking.
Well, as in image, as in look, as in gay lifestyle. Still thinking about
I
it?
think probably the south side.
South side is straighter.
Absolutely, the
south side.
Turak said.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
So can I just get an indication?
Check out the
You live in
photo
Paran,
icons. Yeah.
you live in Sydney,
I live in Richmond.
Richmond, Paran,
East Brunswick.
Don't know.
Sydney,
Sydney.
Richmond.
Richmond. Right, I'm just checking this out because we're going to launch into this in the next segment. Now, before we go to this break, is there anything you want to say to each other? Because we're going to have to go to a break and we're going to have to do the sponsor stuff, the ads.
Use are straight. You guys are so straight. It's not funny. It's so use are so straight.
It's just have to
Listen,
try
it is so straight. It's so narrow.
Try.
So straight. Just try it out. We'll wait for my
I have to buy a dress and wear tampons?
straight.
Is that what it means?
No, I mean the whole dude.
Have you ever worn a dress?
The whole
No, but I've worn a tampon.
attitude.
Well, so there you go.
So you call yourself a token.
Okay, so what makes you so not so straight? Why do you think you're not
You're
straight?
suggesting the perhaps you're the token dyke and this is what the
So
queer
we
world's
don't walk
about.
around like this all day with a lisp, do we?
No, what
that the
makes
point
you
of
what
it?
makes you not straight?
So you're suggesting
Well, I
that you
think
are
that would
straight?
be pretty obvious, actually.
What? Because you're a
Like having
dyke?
sex.
Irrelevant.
Okay, so then you're redefining the whole idea of what straight is and what we're arguing here, because if
basically
you
what
ask me,
we're
it's about
arguing
sexuality,
here
and in
is
general
cloning.
terms, we're defining
Once
straight as
again,
heterosexual.
we've gone back to cloning. We're having definitions. We're setting it all out.
It's got nothing to do with Dolly the sheep whatsoever. Don't bring animals into it, okay?
Unless you're from New Zealand and you like to fucking...
The only difference between the gay community and the straight community is who you sleep with. That's it. That's the only difference.
Closed
now.
door.
Whereas 20 years ago, there was a huge difference, and it was what we did, how we acted, you know, who we fucked, the whole trip. Now it's just so bland. It's so bland.
There is bedrooms again. It's confined.
There's no difference anymore.
I think that's just a
You know,
personal thing.
we'll come back to this because I'm having problems with this, and we're going to come back after this break. And I want to go to the audience. I want the audience to get involved and ask nasty questions. So get ready. That'll be in the next segment. We're about to go out very shortly, I assume. So get ready. We're coming back for the next segment where we're going to hear from Hanna and Robbie, the Sydney ones, and we know how dumb they are. We'll see you soon. Well, welcome back. Here we are, rambling on. The queer life is too straight. I'm having problems with this because I don't think anyone believes it. But we're going to bash through it and see what we do with the Sydney sluts. Sorry, Sydney people. Hanna, Sydney, think Sydney context, think Melbourne context. I know you've researched all weekend in Melbourne. I know you've loved it. So go for it, because what are you going to talk about? Terms.
Terms, yeah. Well, going back to what Caroline was saying before, I don't think she's got the definitions right. You know, terms evolve over time. You know, we're looking at queer. Queer today means being tolerant, diverse. We talk about our community, and we pride ourselves on saying that we're very tolerant. We have minority groups within our own community group. We have people who are, we had a show on Bed TV last year, I remember, I'm sure you remember this, Caroline Prejudice, and that talked about, people had a woman who was a priest, I think, a reverend or something, who was being prejudiced against our own community, who pride themselves on being queer and who are tolerant and fully accepting. It's not happening. It's not happening. Also, another thing I'd like to sort of comment too on is the term straight. Straight is all about being. It's not who you sleep with. It's not who you hang with. I know just as many queer straights as I do queers. Sort of thing. So straight isn't really in today's society. Straight is the conservative sort of narrow-minded, rednecked dickhead on the street that sort of, that you normally don't hang with. I don't.
God, I do.
I'm sure you do, Graham. I'm sure you do. But that's one thing I'd like to point out. Another thing, the Sydney-Melbourne thing. Here it's about geographics. We're talking south. We're talking south-north. It's east-west in Sydney, and in Sydney I see more of a straight thing. The boys are into, all the gay boys are into this bleached blonde hair, the bleached white teeth. Look, body beautiful, body beautiful. This whole body beautiful. He probably doesn't have a great body, but it's all into this, one look, one way of thinking. It's one, and it's like that's not who we are. We really are a diverse community, but. It's just so straight. It really is. It's like even the concept of marriage, even the concept of let me finish.
Too straight, even though we're all diverse. You've gone through the reasons
we're
why
diverse groups. I'm saying because I'm making generalisations here because huge generalisations, but I have to because I don't know every single gay person there is or queer person. Okay, now so what I'm trying to say. Oh look, no. What I'm trying to say though is that the gay community. I might call them the queer community because not everybody, you've got your homosexual who bunks the same sex, and then you've got the gay community, basically. The gay community who call themselves the queer community. The queer community is so separate from the gay community. The gay community has gotten so commercial and so, we even had here in Melbourne, they had the, not getting into politics, but, we've got...
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah, we're not getting into... But, we had someone running for MP in the Liberal Party who, we've got, and the leader of the Liberal Party being such a homophobe. He's a homophobe. It's a boys' club. It's just so, it's repulsing. But, that's not queer. How can you vote for someone who says, I'm all for tolerance and queer, yet, you see the other side and you see just what he stands for in this party, So, and the straight concepts, we've like from marriage, look, I support commitment and people getting together because, I'm a dyke too, hey, I want a girlfriend, I want to be able to live with her and walk down the street and everything like that. But, the marriage thing, I thought we really have evolved, we haven't really evolved that much. I thought, I have this ideal that the gay community, being, not only the gay community, we're talking about racial minority groups, cultural minority groups, ethnic minority groups, age, This is the queer community. Why? Because we've been prejudiced against, and we stand up for tolerance and acceptance, not to be this. See, we've already even the gay community splitting off from the straight community, the homosexuals from the heterosexuals. It's like we're us, but it's not. It's about tolerance. You don't care about I'd like to think that the queer community can bring in heterosexuals into their own clubs, or we do, but a little bit more accepting. But not everybody's accepting.
It's a process.
It's a very slow process. It's a very slow process. But
that brings me to my case against what.
Okay, before you jump in, this is Robert. He's from Sydney. Robbie, and counter. Doing a little number. Go on, blonde boy. Go on, peroxide boy.
Okay. So first of all, a few things I want to say is it Miss Shitty? Okay, you're mentioning about the 70s and the early 80s. I wasn't even born then, sorry. And I was in grade 1 when you were probably bonking someone in the urinal. Okay, and another thing is, you said here straight equals, it doesn't matter who you sleep with or something like that. Yeah, I think the definition of straight is you don't have sex with the same sex. That is it.
That's showing your age.
Talks of the hand. That's it. That is what it's all about, you know. Okay, I like boys. Okay, I like the same sex. I don't have sex with ladies. If I had sex with ladies, I am bisexual. Look up your dictionary. Bisexual. Haven't finished. Okay, now if I'm straight, okay, I have sex with ladies only, and not men as well. Okay, I happen to be gay, so I do it with guys.
I understand a word I just said.
Not really.
You haven't
But anyhow, the thing is, the main thing I want to say is straight people. No, it's my turn. Straight people come to our bars, and the only reason why they come to our bars is because our gay bar, it's our bar, you're welcome to, come on. So the only reason why they come to our bars is quite simple. We have really good dance parties. The best dance parties in the world is a gay one. Our fashion is basically done by gay people. Okay, our music, look at Elton John, and what's that guy who got caught tossing off in the... George Michael, yep. The Village People, Culture Club, they're all fags, you know, get over it, they're all fags, okay? And we have the best fun in the gay community. So we'll bring our straight friends, right?
Are you speaking for me, telling me that I have the best fun every single night at a gay party? Is that
well,
what you're saying?
What are you doing
because I'm struggling with your massive
I'm talking about
generalisation.
My area. I'm not familiar with your area, so I'm talking about my area.
Your definition of straight is scaring me.
Excuse me. The other thing I want to point to is quite simple. It's really simple. Is most of my straight friends happen to be females. Okay, they come with me to a bar. The straight guys see that there's lots of good-looking girls in the bar, and they all come to the same bar. Thus, straight people do come to our bars and have a damn good time while they're there.
So it's pretty obvious. No, go, Karen, go.
I was just going to say, because I'd like to argue against the point that, because you're talking about straight people, and the way you're describing that is that what you said, that straight people are the redneck, that kind of thing. That's what you're saying.
Ideal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
perceptions.
So okay. So if you're talking about terms, we need to
define them.
Define it exactly. So straight. Hang on a second. So straight is what?
Straight is someone who is closed-minded, someone who's not tolerant and accepting.
You see, this is where I disagree with you, because because if we look at that, okay, and look at what the term queer means.
Queer means nonconformist, someone who's
Exactly what being gay is.
And the thing is,
and that's but it doesn't mean just because you're gay. No, the gay's not about that. Gay's not about that. The term is evolved.
It really queer used to be a negative term. Okay, the gay community have embraced queer as a positive term to describe our society. Now, the whole idea by saying that queer is too straight brings it back to a negative term. That's why, you know, because, and your point with that is that straight is redneck. It's like, no, queer is diverse, queer is different, queer is gay, lesbian, transsexual, bisexual. It's everything that our community embraces, and so you're bringing it back to a negative term.
No, I don't think this is. Yeah, I didn't define it properly before.
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't. That's my fault. Okay, I'm sorry. But the thing is, queer. What I'm saying is, the gay community have adopted queer as the lifestyle, but the contemporary term of queer these days, as I know, is diversity, not in the gay community, diversity in society in a broad range.
So basically you're just dismissing the term queer completely, because your definition actually just turns around and says, well, things by the queer community, and you just basically put out a basis for why we don't actually exist.
It's not the gay community. You don't have to be gay to be in the queer community. The queer community has a diverse range of ethnic, straight, bisexual, transgender, sexual.
Someone just say a guy doesn't like to have sex with other guys, but he accepts that it's okay. That makes him queer. Is that what you're saying?
That can make him queer.
He's not queer.
He's queer.
So he's got to shave his legs, wear tampons, buy a dress.
That is not queer. What are you talking about, tampons? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Oh, by the way, buy
I don't get this. I don't get this. What are you talking about, tampons?
No, but what I'm saying is
queer
means
is
that
about
you're a guy and you have sex with a guy as well.
It's a mentality. It's a mentality and lifestyle, not actions where you're bonking someone of the same sex, you know, or anything like that. That's not what it's about. queer.
That's what we believe.
Queer is tolerance, acceptance. No, it's the contemporary.
What does queer say in the
You're
dictionary?
my age. You know.
He prides himself on being so
yeah,
but he's so
Guys, before we get into this, a quick one from Monique, because I actually want to go to the audience. We've got time. We may not go.
Okay, what I want to do before we start our next break is all write our own definition of straight down and tell the audience what our understanding of straight is.
Good, very good idea. Now we're about to go in 30 seconds. We'll be coming back to the third and final segment, and I actually want to introduce some homosexual magazines. They were queer community, or when I grew up it was called gay community, gay and lesbian gay community, and I'm just so proud of the latest editions of these magazines, which are supposed to please us, to make us consume, and we won't be showing the names or mentioning the names of the magazines. But we're going to come back very shortly, and we're going to have our final two speakers, which will be Monique on one side and Hanna on the other side, and we're going out any second, and then we're going to talk magazines and over to the audience. Thank you very much. We're going to be back in a second. Welcome back, Rambling On, the third and final segment. And this is the debate show, I suppose, in a way, that queer life is too straight. We had a wild weekend researching. Yes, we were at the Peel and DTs on that side, and we have decided in the ad break that it's groovier and less straight on the north side. But we all live in Paran. How stupid are we? But before we get into the debate, I actually did a bit of research. And I'd like to read on our homosexual publication, which I mentioned before. And one which I picked up, they've got a quote in the front of it. It says, "Here's the deal. We're all in this together. The whole them and us thing is so 20th century. Gay? Question mark. Great. Straight? Question mark. Super." Now, I'm sorry, as a homosexual male, this is the kind of stuff that I'm supposed to buy and consume in these lifestyle magazines. I found it really strange. I looked through it and found an opera review. Now, I've got nothing against high queen arts, fruits and suits, all that kind of shit, but for God's sake, I want more than bloody opera, mainstream opera, you know, and that kind of stuff. But better than that, there's one little survey they're running, and it goes, "Back to the walls, boys. Who are the world's sexiest straight men?" This particular magazine wants us to send in our favourite 5 straight men. Now, they're obviously very boy-orientated. One could argue they're quite misogynistic, because in the old days they weren't, but this is where they think the culture, the advertiser's going. But why in the hell would we want to send in our grooviest, our favourite straight kind of people? I just find it weird.
And can I just say, how do we know that those guys are straight?
Exactly.
I'm from a gay anyhow.
So I wasn't that biased. I looked at the other magazines. And there's a classic one here, Straight with a Twist. This straight man, there's a 4-page article on it, and he likes fags. I'm sorry, do I want to read it? My parents love me. Do they like fags? For God's sake, do I want to read this crap? It's all a bit strange, I reckon, but that's who we are, the so-called queer community. Now, before we get into anything else, we're going to do the definitions, which we mentioned before. So I'm going to start down with Monique and do it the reverse. Monique, because you've got the book. You've got the dictionary.
Book.
Can you please give the definitions of queer and straight from your perspective?
I can. Now, the reason I'm having difficulties debating this topic, and everyone's sort of losing the plot a bit, is that we don't have a clear definition of what we're talking about here. So that's why I wanted to know where everyone was coming from. Now, looked up in the dictionary, this is where it comes from. Straight, a narrow channel of the sea linking two larger areas of sea. And we're discussing a strait. We're talking about a narrow bit of water, okay?
Are you trying to support that argument?
Well, that's what I mean. We need, who's making the definition? What is our definition of straight that we are discussing today? I can't tell you that. Personally, I can't give you that answer.
Good. That's one position, because I think I went with that one last night. I'm not sure. Think about that for a second. Hanna, your definition, please.
Well, with timber.
So, because we both agree on the same thing.
Good, 2 half brains make a full one. This is very good.
Well, that's the theory, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyhow,
It's good theory.
as we're saying, our definition of straight is quite simple and straight to the point. Straight is a person who does not want to have any sexual relationship of any kind with the same person of the same sex.
Okay. And what we also did in that instance is turned around and defined what we thought queer was, because we thought in relevance to we're trying to actually set out what we actually think here. So what we said basically was a queer person was basically someone who doesn't wish to conform to what society has dictated as what you have a relationship as. And within that, there's the context of being bisexual, being a lesbian, being a homosexual, being bent.
Or being a Miss Shitty.
Being a Miss Shitty, or transsexual. Yeah, as I said, there's a lot of terms under there, and we just thought that was kind of relevant when you're saying what straight is, what queer is. And basically what we're saying is it's not conforming to what society has dictated in history, how you would define what a relationship would be between two people. And that's how someone is defined as queer.
Right on.
Thank you. Now, there's a bit of a reaction from God here. Thank you for the sponsorship. The light above your head is spinning out. So we'll keep going, but if it blows up, you'll understand what it's all about, audience. Because, hell, we're on this side. We don't really care. I want to go across to Anna now. Can you give us your definition?
Yeah, well, look, my heart goes out to you guys, you know. Time, I'm sorry, I don't mean to sort of, but terms evolve. Look, terms evolve. Queer is about acceptance and tolerance. Nothing to do with the colour you are, the sex, who you have sex with, or who you're bonking or whatever. It's nothing to do with that. It's about acceptance and tolerance. Straight is the opposite. It's being not so much conservative. It's not really bad, but commercial mainstream rubbish that straight, the old traditional concepts of things such as marriage and all that sort of stuff, all that sort of crap.
Oh, for God's sake, shut up on the floor and do your job. That was very good.
Nothing to do with sex at all.
That was deep. Nothing to do with sex? And you call yourself a lesbian? I don't understand it. Before we go across, continuing on your side, Miss Shitty.
Well, I just want to give my definition of queer first.
Go.
Right? And I think queer is about philosophy and values and way of life, usually in minority and non-conformist. I consider myself to be queer, but it's not about sexuality for me. It's about my thought processes, my fantasies, and how I relate these and practice them in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you do in that sex shop where you work. He actually works in a sex shop. It's actually, it's okay. It's good you do it. Someone has to clean up afterwards.
I tell you, there's a lot of straight men that are really, really, really queer.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's my point. It's like it's not really about sex. It's what you do and the ideology and the philosophies behind you.
Good. That's deep. The reason I've left Caroline to last is that she used to be on a lot of these debate shows, and she's very well renowned in the art scene in Melbourne. So very briefly, can you give your definition, Dale?
Well, I read the dictionary definition before, and straight, one of the things was that it was not curved or crooked. And queer is, we have a bent, and so our community is the gay, lesbian, transgendered and bisexual community. But I would have to actually agree with your side, because it isn't just about sex.
You didn't tell us about that.
Define it as, hang on a minute.
Shut up,
we define it as sex because we need to define it. But what's underneath, or actually what surrounds all of that, is the idea that is that acceptance idea. So in terms of that definition thing, actually, sorry guys.
You want to walk?
I'm going to walk.
Wow. Well, now this is a first. This is a first.
Does she do that?
She can do this. We don't have a problem with this one.
Come over here.
We're actually having a situation occurring where Carolyn has swapped over, and I just think that's fantastic. That's only 2 blonde bottles left with the 2 half brains that didn't make a break. That's okay. There's not an issue on that one at all. Oh, shut up. Don't give up your day job, sweetheart. Trust me.
She got a day job.
Barely, anyway. We're about to go. We're going to go to Monique, because you're the 3-minute talker, Monique, and you're going to talk about that queer life is too straight and take a position.
Queer light. Light.
Life.
Light is life. Okay, queer life is too straight. I totally agree with this. But what my point is of bringing up the definitions, and consequently we had somebody change sides with us, is the fact that there is no definition for what we are debating. Now, the way that I look at straight is a perception, an understanding of what other people see of us. Now, I create perceptions and I can speak for myself in my own life. I have a very straight life, which I need to do for work, and on the weekends, for want of a word, I will call it a queer life. So what I'm talking about here is my understanding of straight is the fact that you're falling in a perception of what society is understanding us to be, an acceptance subjected to whatever that straightness appeals to the people who are understanding this, equality, that you're going to be accepted for who you are in this straight role. Now, if I look at the queer life, I'm looking at persecution, perceptions, and stereotypes. But my point that I'm making here, and excuse me as I just got up.
What are you doing?
There goes my microphone. What I'm saying here is perceptions, and what I want to prove here is that I can be straight if I need to, but...
Now, this is a family show. This is a family show, Monique.
Want me to be?
I actually got a tattoo on the butt. Is that true?
A tattoo on my butt. I've got tats, I've got the belly ring. I can be as bent as I want to, so I'm going here.
Look, this is supposed to be a show. Well, it's actually working quite well as a show. So, two lesbians have swapped sides. Boys, what does this mean?
Can I just say,
Carolyn?
I think it's really funny that, you know, because we're all about equality, and I think it's quite noble of you that you saw that there was an imbalance and that you went to the other side.
Well, that's interesting. But we're running out of time. We're running out of time. I actually want to go to Hanna because I want to go to the audience. So, Hanna, go for it.
Okay, basically, it's quite simple. The queer world is not just straight. You know very well I'm arguing that. Based on the fact of just what we define it as, what a queer community is, the fact that it involves, let's say, the gay community, homosexuals, lesbians, transsexuals, bisexuals, the lot. Quite simply, how the hell can it be straight when it's that, when it does not follow a single tradition of what you call the straight as you heard our definition before? You got that?
Hang on, there's a mic problem. It's you, Hanna?
It's me.
It's
Do you want to
you.
share mine?
Yeah, it may have gone off, so we'll share that mic there. Sorry about this, but we are Channel 31 and we do have huge resources. Thank you, The Peel, for sponsoring us, but we need more money. Okay, we're about to go to questions, so quickly finish it as soon as you can, darling.
Okay, basically, yeah, so what I was saying, from the queer definition to the straight definition of someone who basically follows traditional aspects of what, sexuality is, and the fact that queer society is the whole non-conformity to that, how the hell can somebody be defined as straight when they don't follow that?
Exactly.
Exactly it. You cannot say someone is straight when they don't conform to what we've just defined straight is. If you got some guy in the back of a toilet, like having sex with another guy, I would not call that straight. Bloody queer.
Okay, I don't want to get into this right now because you can all decide at home who's right and who's wrong and what opinion. We're going to quickly go to a statement from Jason. Jason, give us your position. Make a statement, whatever you want to say.
I'm just interested in this whole perception of straight and queer because I see a lot of people fighting for acceptance in the straight community and they're kind of wanting to become part of the straighter community because of that. Ultimately, the fight for rights is the fight for acceptance into the wider straight community. So we may be becoming more straight because of that. But on the other hand, some queers want that wider straight acceptance, but they still want their ghetto. So they still want that divisiveness. Does anyone have a comment on that kind of...
Yeah, well, I think is that the gay community is really moving into the mainstream, and it's so acceptable now that we've created our own little prejudices within our own community, and that's stretched out to the wider community. And I'd probably say that we're getting the commercial side in the mainstream. Well, the commercial side of the gay community is moving so straight.
We're about to go very shortly, Anna. Sorry.
So close
One
off.
quick question before you go out, and I think that you're in darkness, but go for it, please.
Just one more of a comment really, but I have to agree with Anna, and I think it was something that was really enforced by Caroline, was what's actually emerged in the subconsciousness is sort of like a set of cliches, and that is the straight that they're talking about that's dominating gay culture. And
Guys.
queer, just one more quick thing. Queer is, I think, more about acceptance rather than tolerance. I think it's an attitude, not a sexuality. So.
Okay, we're winding up. Thank you very much. That's rambling on. We're coming back again next week as usual. That Queer Life is Too Straight. We're not convinced. We don't know. So I don't know who to award it with. Thank you very much.
This program is proudly brought to you by the Peel Dance Bar, corner of Peel and Wellington Streets, Collingwood.